Here is my Security News Roundup for the week ending January 5th, 2024. T-Mobile will crack down on scam texts by issuing $2,000 fines for each violation. Starting on January 1st, 2024, the Un-carrier will levy fines against third-party organizations that use the T-Mobile network to send scam, spam, and illegal texts, as announced by Vonage, a marketing company that offers brands a way to communicate with potential customers using text messages, and first spotted by Cord Cutters News. T-Mobile will levy $500, $1,000, and $2,000 fines against companies that do this. Scammers or spammers using companies like Vonage will now have cash on the line if they maliciously use T-Mobile's network, which could deter them from bothering. Read more at androidauthority.com. Google settles $5 billion privacy lawsuit over tracking users in incognito mode. Google has agreed to settle a lawsuit filed in June of 2020 that alleged that the company misled users by tracking their surfing activity who thought that their internet use remained private when using the incognito or private mode on web browsers. The class action lawsuit sought at least $5 billion in damages. The settlement terms were not disclosed. The plaintiffs had alleged that Google violated federal wiretap laws and tracked users' activity using Google Analytics to collect information when in private mode. They said this allowed the company to collect an unaccountable trove of information about users who assumed they had taken adequate steps to promote their privacy online. Please never assume. To do so makes a you-know-what out of you and me. Read more at thehackernews.com. Vizio agrees to pay out $3 million in stop advertising bogus effective frame rates. TV maker Vizio is being taken to task for making big claims in excessive refresh rates on its TVs, when in reality, an effective frame rate is based on software meant to give the impression of smoother viewing. While folks who bought a Vizio TV shouldn't expect any big payout, it's a strong reminder not to take big frame rate claims on your next television or monitor at face value. According to the settlement documents provided by the law firm, the TV maker agreed to stop using effective refresh rate as an advertising tactic. Read more at gizmodo.com. DOJ slams Xcast with $10 million fine over massive illegal robocall operation. The U.S. Department of Justice on Tuesday said it reached a settlement with VoIP service provider Xcast over allegations that it facilitated illegal telemarketing campaigns since at least January 2018, in contravention of the telemarketing sales rule, in addition to prohibiting the company from violating the law. The stipulated order requires it to meet other compliance measures, including establishing a process for screening its customers and calling for potentially illegal telemarketing. The order, which also imposes a $10 million civil penalty judgment, has been suspended due to Xcast's inability to pay. Xcast provided VoIP services that transmitted billions of illegal robocalls to American consumers, including scam calls fraudulently claiming to be from government agencies, the DOJ said in a press release. Read more at thehackernews.com. Apple faces tough challenges against antitrust regulators in the U.S. and EU. U.S. antitrust trial against Google could impact Apple. A report by the Financial Times paywalled article outlines the legal troubles that Apple will face this year. One key factor is how the U.S. Department of Justice's antitrust trial against Google turns out. You may recall that Apple has defended the search giant a few times last year, calling it the best option available for users. We learned other interesting information as the case proceeded, including details about how Microsoft tried to sell Bing to Apple and why the latter passed on the offer. The highlight of the case is the partnership between Google and Apple. Google pays Apple a hefty sum of $26 billion per year in order to keep its search engine as the default on the latter's devices and browsers, i.e. iOS, macOS, iPadOS, Safari, and Siri. Read more at ghacks.net. Chinese teenager found alive in Utah woods after cyber kidnapping scam. A Chinese exchange student who fell victim to a cyber kidnapping scam in which his parents were extorted for $80,000 was found alive but cold and scared in a tent in the Utah wilderness, police said. The case followed a typical pattern for cyber kidnapping, in which kidnappers tell a victim to isolate and provide pictures as if being held captive. Photos that are then sent to their victim's family to extort a payment. The victims comply under the belief their family will otherwise be harmed. Local police worked with the FBI, the U.S. Embassy in China, and Chinese officials to find the missing teenager. Read more at theguardian.com. Don't trust links with known domains. BMW affected by redirect vulnerability. Cyber News researchers have discovered 2 BMW subdomains that were vulnerable to SAP redirect vulnerability. They were used to access the internal workplace systems of BMW dealers and could have been useful to attackers for spear phishing campaigns or malware distribution. SAP redirect vulnerability is a security issue that affects web application servers for SAP products. This means that anyone could forge a redirect link using these subdomains by adding a string such as the following example. Read more at cybernews.com. This week's must-see on my YouTube channel. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and adapt your practices as the threats evolve. Go forth, brave explorer, and conquer the cyber wilderness. A survival guide for 2024's connected citizens. Please watch my video on that topic at the link listed. Did you know the earliest recorded festivities in honor of New Year's arrival date back some 4,000 years to ancient Babylon? Ecuadorians burned their troubles for the past year in a symbolic ritual to start fresh for the new year. The most common New Year's resolution people make is to get healthier. Just thought you might want to know. Only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go, thanks to T.S. Eliot. And that's a wrap for the first of many 2024 Security News Roundups. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching and listening.